More on that coming up. But first, Senator Marco Rubio's financial history now under intensifying attack. The GOP presidential candidate is accused of misusing a Florida Republican Party charge card years ago. And there's now a new demand for Senator Rubio to answer questions about his finances as he rises in the polls, and he has been rising. Our senior investigative correspondent, Drew Griffin, is digging on this story. Drew, Rubio trying to downplay all of these questions. What's the latest?
Rubio's tried to portray these issues as just a bunch of old news, Wolf, recycled political attacks. The problem is, even after years of questions, the senator hasn't come entirely clean about his records, but that may be about to change. Marco Rubio insists he's just an average American trying to make ends meet.
I know for a fact how difficult it is to raise children, how expensive it's become for working families.
But there is intense pressure for him to come clean about the financial issues which have been dogging him for years. The trouble dates back to when Rubio was in the Florida House of Representatives. He came under fire for using a state Republican American Express card for personal expenses. There were complaints he charged $4,000 to repair a minivan and replace it with a rental car, and that he used the card for a $134 haircut. After the spending was made public, Rubio said he repaid it, $16,052, covering his personal expenses charged to the card. Rubio is still answering questions about it today.
It wasn't a credit card. It was an American Express charge card secured under my personal credit in conjunction with the party. I would go through the bills would be mailed to me at home. Every month I would go through it. If there was a personal expense, I paid it. If it was a party expense, the party paid it.
Thank you. Trouble is, not all the Amex statements from that time period have been made public. There's a 2-year gap. Though Rubio's campaign told the Tampa Bay Times those records will be released.
And yet,
Rubio's critics believe he's hiding something.
We still don't know what's on those statements of the American Express card prior to him becoming Speaker, when he had complete control of all of the campaign dollars, Florida House campaign dollars. And if he wanted to make it very clear that he had reimbursed the party, then show us.
Mike Fasano, a fellow Republican, worked with Rubio for years. Fasano used to be the majority leader in the Florida House, and Rubio even called him his mentor, but not anymore. He now supports Jeb Bush.
He has no appreciation for the dollars that are being donated to the party or the campaigns.
Those are pretty strong statements coming from a fellow Republican.
If you're going to run for the highest office of the land, then the voters, not only in Florida, but throughout the United States, need to know the rest of the story, the whole story, the true story, and how you do deal with finances, and how you do spend other people's money.
Fasano says there's only one reason Marco Rubio has failed so far to release all the records of his Republican Party American Express charge card. It's because the true story of how this presidential contender spent the money has yet to be told. It is about the future of this. Marco Rubio's campaign says Mike Fasano, the man you just heard from, Wolf, is a Bush supporter, and that a Republican paid-for audit cleared Rubio of any wrongdoing relating to his charge card use. Both are partially true. Fasano does like Jeb Bush, but insists he has nothing to do with the Bush campaign, and that audit did clear Rubio of wrongdoing in relationship to his state party credit card, but it only covered less than half of the expenses and years under question. Rubio's campaign says, stand by, the record will finally be released. Wolf?
And Donald Trump, he's really going after Rubio on all of these issues, stepping up his attacks pretty regularly, right?
That's absolutely true. Questioning not just his use of charge cards, but questioning his personal finances, which even Marco Rubio says aren't the best. He had some questionable spending in his days. He had to sell a house that was underwater. So there's a lot of finance issues relating to how Marco Rubio manages not only his money, but especially in this case, other people's donated dollars given to him for political use.
Do we know when he's going to release all the relevant documents?
You know, it's a moving target. His campaign said a couple of days ago it's coming out in the next few weeks. We've heard it could be in the next few days. We just don't know. Keep in mind, reporters have been asking for these documents, Wolf, since 2010.
Drew Griffin, thanks very much for that report. That's it for me.